We are live on the Boiler Breakdown simulcast on Twitter and Facebook. After some technical difficulties, it is definitely a Monday, but we're happy to be here. We're happy to cover some Purdue football and some Purdue basketball. I'm Tanner Lee, alongside my co-hosts Evan Webb and Andrew Eiler. Besides the technical difficulties, how's it going, guys?
Not too bad. How about you, Tan?
Can't complain.
I'm frustrated.
Understandable, very understandable, Andrew. But hey, we're here. We're ready to rock and roll. And as always, the Boiler Breakdown is brought to you by Schroff Landscaping Nurseries. You can contact them at 574-223-2769. Even though it is getting cold outside, they're still doing landscaping. And landscape design is a big thing they will be pushing in the winter when it gets too cold to do much outside. So give them a call at 574-223-2769 for all of your landscaping needs. Well, fellas, I don't know about you, but I felt really odd not watching any Purdue football over the weekend.
Yeah, I definitely felt the same. I kind of forgot college football existed for a minute because I was at the basketball game and I was like, oh yeah, there's still college football on.
Yeah, and I've told you guys this. I haven't watched, besides Purdue, I haven't watched really any college basketball yet this season.
Mm-hmm.
So I've still been in football mode, and I watched a lot of college football over the weekend. It just felt weird not watching Purdue at all. But got to root against Indiana and Notre Dame, so I went 1 for 1 on those over the weekend. But and now Purdue football is back this week after a bye week, a much needed bye week, really.
Mm-hmm.
But now they get the opponent that has given them more problems than anybody.
Our favorite.
That's the Wisconsin Badgers. And looking back, Wisconsin has beaten Purdue every year since 2003.
Shout out to Ben Jones.
Yes, Ben Jones. That was a college game day game up at Camp Randall. The only 2 years Purdue didn't play them, I believe, was 07, 08.
Mm-hmm.
Besides that, Wisconsin has beaten Purdue every single year. But all good things or bad things from Purdue's standpoint must come to an end. Could it be this weekend, Evan?
Oh man.
Let's go to the back from 04 on. Of course, I think anybody who's been a Purdue fan for any time can remember the 04 college game day, Orton fumble game.
Mm-hmm.
The Purdue program really
have to say anything about that?
Hadn't been the same since. Let's just put it that way. I mean, ranked number 5, and then
wasn't it? Were they 4 and we were 5, or vice versa?
I think they were higher. I think they might have been 9. I'm not sure though. You could be right. It was a good matchup.
Yeah,
I know that. And it looks like Andrew is having technical difficulties again. So I don't know if he's going to be in tonight or out or what's going on. But we're hoping to have him back here soon. But anyways, going back to the Wisconsin series, in 04, Purdue lost at home 20-17. They went up to Madison in 05, lost 31-20. 06, they lost at home 24-3. I do remember that because P.J. Hill ran all over Purdue. That was one of those years Purdue didn't play Michigan or Ohio State. So they thought they could get going, and it didn't happen. And then in 09, they lost 37-0. I remember that game in Danny Hope's first year.
I don't remember that game. Probably a good thing.
Then they lost at home 34-13, but Purdue was winning at halftime, led by quarterback Sean Robinson. Second half just didn't go very well. 2011 was very ugly up at Camp Randall, 16-17. 2012, 38-14, and Ross Sade, Monte Ball ran all over Purdue that game.
I feel like for these running backs you said run over, you just cut the name and pay someone else's name.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. But when we get to Jonathan Taylor, I think he is the best one since Ron Dane. I think he is better than P.J. Hill, Melvin Gordon, Monte Ball, and James White, which are all great, phenomenal college running backs. Some of them have even had good pro careers. Yeah. But then in 2000 and where am I? 2000 and 13, Purdue lost 41-10 up at Camp Randall, lost 34-16 to 14 at home, 24-7 up in 2015, 49-20 2016, and then the last 2 years under Jeff Brom, Purdue lost up at Madison 17-9, and in triple overtime last year at home, 47-44.
That was our chance.
That was definitely Purdue's best chance that they've had, at least in a long time. But I don't know. That's why they play the game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at college basketball. Evansville knocked off number 1 Kentucky.
Right.
But the thing going against Purdue is Wisconsin's already been heavily favored. They're 24-point favorites against Purdue this upcoming weekend. They were 31-point favorites earlier this season going into Illinois, and Illinois shocked the world and beat them. Just can't see it happening twice to Wisconsin in the same season.
No, they'll be. I mean, yeah, it's kind of those things where they slipped up the one time and just come at the right time, right place, and yeah, I don't see that happening again. So it'll be a tall task.
And it probably didn't help Purdue's case that Minnesota lost to Iowa, because now Wisconsin can be focused, and if they beat Purdue and beat
comes down to next week
and beat Minnesota, then they go to the Big Ten championship. So
yep.
But Purdue's got a lot to play for too. Purdue's playing for their bowl lives. Backs up against the wall, but they're still playing. So, some of the notes here. It's a 4:00 Fox game, so it's a national game. 4:00 is the latest time slate in the Big Ten. Could be a good thing or could be a really bad thing. Wisconsin, as you can probably assume after I went over those numbers, they lead the all-time series 49-29-8. I was surprised it was that big because Wisconsin was really bad in the 70s. So I was surprised at the series. But then again, Wisconsin's won every time the last 13 years. I mean, we were 11 years old the last time Purdue beat Wisconsin, to put it in terms. Led by Jonathan Taylor. I feel like we've talked about him a lot on this podcast, even in the weeks not even upcoming to this game. We've talked about Jonathan Taylor a lot, but he's having a phenomenal year, junior campaign. So far, he's rushed for more yards through his junior year, which isn't even over yet, than anybody in NCAA history. He passed Herschel Walker over the weekend. He has 233 carries for 1,485 yards and 17 touchdowns, and also 4 receiving touchdowns on the year. Don't know how Purdue's going to stop this guy.
No, considering last year he
torched Purdue last year.
If this is right, I'm looking at ESPN's game log. 33 carries for 321 yards, 3 touchdowns. Does that sound right? Yep.
Yeah, he went off in the second half.
Let's see. Let's go back to 2017. He did, 30 carries for 219 yards and a touchdown. So.
Yeah, I think what Purdue's got on doing is slowing him down or containing him. I don't think they can, because you're not gonna just stop him. It's not gonna happen. But I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that. I don't know who's going to be healthy and who's not going to be playing for Purdue yet. We didn't find a lot out today by Jeff Brom's press conference on the injury front. He did sound more optimistic on Neal and Moore's status than recent weeks, but still it wasn't a glowing they're going to play.
Yeah.
More of a they could practice tomorrow. I want to see how they do.
Yeah.
But man, if Purdue could get just one of those guys, if not both of them back, that would be huge.
Is there one you'd prefer?
Rondale. Even though, of all people, of all matchups, Lorenzo Neal might be needed more than
I'd say Lorenzo's by far needed more in this game.
But at least
maybe
Rondale,
even the next game too. I don't know.
I mean, I know Rondale hasn't played since that Minnesota game, dating back in September. But at least he did have a few games under his belt, whereas Lorenzo hadn't played at all. And there's such thing as game rust, so we couldn't expect either one of them to come out and probably play great. But just to have Rondale be even a decoy for David Bell or maybe even Jared Sparks, but I don't know if he's going to be back this week because it sounds like his high ankle issue is just not going away. But maybe they'll get, Cornell Jones back this week or some other guys on the defensive end. So.
Yeah, I'm all for getting as many defensive guys back as we possibly can, really, before the end of the year.
Oh, yeah. Then looking at other players in Wisconsin, they have actually a pretty good quarterback, Jack Cohn, probably better than any recent quarterback they've had. He's still more of a game manager, but he will take a deep shot every now and then, run some play action. They feel confident having him pass the ball on third down. He's 166 completions on 230 attempts for the year, 13 touchdowns, only 3 picks. See right there. See, I think if Purdue has any chance, they have to get out to a lead and force some turnovers on Wisconsin. But Taylor does have some fumbling issues at times. That's how Illinois beat them. They had, I think, Wisconsin turned over 4 or 5 times, if I'm not mistaken, that game.
Illinois is also really good at forcing turnovers, so that's a bit of a difference.
You're right. So that makes me a little nervous. Quintez, I don't know how to say his last name. Cephas, I think is how you say his last name. Their wide receiver. He's the best wide receiver. 35 receptions for 527 yards, 4 touchdowns. Jake Ferguson has 24 receptions for 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, and AJ Taylor 21 receptions, 257 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So they spread the ball out a little bit, but it's still your normal Wisconsin ground and pound. The big hefties up front, big farm boys. I don't know how Purdue's pass rush is going to get through and put any pressure on Cohn.
Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea how our offensive line's going to hold up.
I'm more confident in them than I am the defensive line getting through.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the offensive line's been playing better as of late.
You're right.
But unfortunately, Wisconsin's defense has been spotty at times this year. They struggled against Nebraska last week, but the 2 games they've really struggled, Ohio State and Nebraska, what do those 2 teams have? Justin Fields and Adrian Martinez, both mobile quarterbacks. Aiden O'Connell's not a mobile quarterback.
You're not wrong.
So, I mean, that's when I kind of wish we had Jack Plummer, who is more mobile. But it is what it is, really. We can't do anything about it. And if Aiden O'Connell was to pull off this upset, you start building a statue.
Give him a scholarship at that point if he hasn't deserved it already.
Yeah, absolutely. And for anybody that is watching our simulcast on Twitter and Facebook, feel free to ask questions, drop in comments, anything you want, and we'll answer them as we go. So, I just think the keys of the game to Purdue is, of course, limit your own turnovers, force turnovers, and get out to a lead. You cannot.
We can't have Penn State again, where we got down 21.
Yeah,
right off the bat.
I was even going to say you can't afford to get down 14-0 like you did against Northwestern. Northwestern is not a good football team. This is a really good football team in Wisconsin, who's 8-2, ranked number 14th in the country, and still has a good shot winning the Big Ten West. So I don't know, but that's why they play the game. Do you feel good about Purdue at least covering the 24-point spread?
I don't know.
Which could change.
It could change.
I would like to think if Vegas found out that Rondell Moore and Lorenzo Neal are playing, then it's going to drop.
I think we can cover that just because I'm kind of just hoping that they just run the ball a lot and we can just hopefully contain them to a point. But I don't know. I feel like he ran over some of our better defenses in the past, and now that we're a little spotty, I don't know. Maybe Ben Holt can just have a monster game. We'll see.
He's had a pretty monster year. I know there's a lot of guys in Knucklehead Central who have been hard on Ben Holt. I'm thinking, man, where would this defense be if it wasn't for Nick Holt?
No kidding.
Nick Holt, Ben Holt. Every week I want to call him Nick. I wish we could get some pads on Nick Holt, defense coordinator, just get him out.
No kidding.
But I don't know, man. Until a fat lady sings and Purdue's out of any contention for a bowl game, I'm going to have hope.
Yeah, the fact that we made it this far is pretty exciting.
I just want to see the guys fight and compete and give it their all and see what happens. And I think they will. I think they've come too far not to. But we'll see. So, you want to pick some games?
Yes, sir.
Around the Big Ten and in the top 25. Got a good slate of games for the Big Ten this week. Let me pull them up here.
Not for the SEC, though. This is about time.
SEC's bye week, pretty much this week for the most part.
Yeah.
Of course, we got Purdue, Wisconsin. Let's go ahead and pick the game. Wisconsin's 24-point favorites.
Hate to do it, but I'm picking Wisconsin, but I don't think they cover.
I'll agree with you. I think Purdue can at least keep it within 21, but I think Wisconsin extends the streak of just being a
one more year
thorn in the side of the Boilermakers. So hopefully they can snap that soon. Got the college game day game of the week, the game of the week in the Big Ten, the Fox Big Noon game.
Not only that, but you got Fox and you got game day there. So it's
and the Big Ten Network.
Oh, I didn't know that.
All three are going to be there. Which
I saw someone on Twitter is going to be like the Anchorman street fight between all the news stations.
That would be awesome. Money's on court, though. You got Penn State at Ohio State. Ohio State's an 18-point favorite.
I think they cover. I think Ohio State covers. They're freaking good.
No, and that's crazy to me because I agree with you.
Yeah.
And I think Penn State's really good.
Yep.
But Ohio State's really, really good.
Yeah.
I just think they're so focused right now, and I don't.
If this was at Penn State, I might say Penn State would cover, but the fact that it's in the horseshoe, yeah, no chance.
Day.
Yep.
Which, you're a big college sports fan. I got in a little disagreement earlier with a friend of ours about the importance of senior day.
Mm-hmm.
His argument was, and I can see part of his argument, that seniors come out usually too tight on senior day.
Mm-hmm.
But he thought I was putting too much emphasis on the importance of senior day when I was making my picks.
I think it definitely plays a factor. I think to you and our friend's point, I think it goes both ways. I think either guys come out super tight and it can be an issue if they let it become an issue longer than it needs to be, but other times and that kind of gives them just that extra motivation. So I think it I don't know if I think it really depends on the player if it goes one way or the other, but I think it's definitely important. I mean, as we both played sports growing up and we were in high school. I know senior day meant a lot to me. Even though I didn't play a whole lot, it meant a lot, that final game at home.
Yeah, my main sport was golf, so it was a little different, but we still had a senior night, and you knew it was your last 9-hole match at your home course, so you still wanted to play well, but it wasn't like we really had a crowd or anything or any introductions but yeah, no doubt. So, I think it's particularly important if you have a senior quarterback who's started many years, which we do here in the 2 games from now, which we'll pick here in a little bit. So that's why I kind of brought it up. Interesting matchup here, and I can't believe I'm calling a Rutgers game interesting. You got 2-8 Rutgers hosting 4-6 Michigan State, who just is not playing well at all. I don't know what the line is on that game. It doesn't show.
I've got 20.5.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
God, I don't know if Michigan. They're playing Rutgers. Let's say 4.5, but I'll actually take Michigan State and I'll take them to cover, but I just don't think they're playing it. And I honestly think this is D'Antonio's last year. I don't know why. I know Michigan State said they weren't going to fire him. He just looks like a guy who doesn't even enjoy his job anymore. But it's tough, though. He's the all-time winningest coach in program history. It's tough to cut ties there. So maybe he quits on his own item.
Michigan State's definitely winning. I'm trying to figure out if I want to pick them to cover or not.
Isn't that crazy?
Because their offense is not good, but it's Rutgers.
Yeah.
What did Rutgers do last week? They didn't. How many points did they score against Ohio State? They scored 21 against probably their 23 recruits. Michigan State covers. Why not?
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I just don't see how they don't cover, to be honest. But this is why I brought up the senior day. You got 6-4 Illinois at 7-3 Iowa, but it'll be Nate Stanley's senior day.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa's 15-point favorite.
Ooh, man. Yeah, this is
Iowa has been to Illinois since Lovey got there, as what Wisconsin has been to Purdue. They've just killed Illinois every year.
I think Iowa covers barely.
I agree.
Like a 17-point game.
17 or 18.
Yeah.
Maybe 20. I agree. I think Iowa's coming off. They are coming off a huge win over Minnesota, though. We'll see where their head's at. And Illinois has been playing some good ball, but they're coming off a bye week, which sometimes you don't want to have a bye week when they're playing well. So we'll see. Number 8, Minnesota, coming off that loss to Iowa. They're rowing their boats down south to Northwestern.
I can't believe the line on this game.
13.5, Minnesota.
That'd be way more than that. I think Minnesota blows them out by 20 easily. 24.
Yep, I think Minnesota covers it pretty easily. I thought that was starting to face the Minnesota. Because it's not like Minnesota got killed at Iowa. They played pretty darn good.
Yeah.
It was a good.
PJ Fleck's an idiot. Well, I mean,
Yes.
we've established that, but
Yep.
yeah.
He said he'd do it all over again. I understand he was trying to check on his player safety, but he said his player was laying there motionless. Yeah, for like a second, then his player got up.
He was out there before like the players around him were there.
Yeah. He kind of just lost his mind, and it really cost his team.
Mm-hmm.
And Tanner Morgan suffered a concussion late in the game. I'm not sure what his status is going to be. Either way, I think
I forgot about that. So I mean, it could be factoring into that.
Yeah, maybe they're thinking he's not going to play because I don't know who the other kid is. I think the other kid was originally their third string in the spring because Morgan was originally their backup. Their starter broke his foot, but Tanner Morgan's played really, really well this year. But I think Minnesota covers. Number 15, Michigan, 8-point favorites at Indiana. Indiana's 7-3. Michigan's 8-2. This is a 3:30 ESPN game.
Man, this is a tough pick. In all honesty, which
I think Michigan covers easy, man.
Really?
By easy, I'm saying 14-17.
I mean, the tail of the tape recently has been Indiana plays them tough, and then
haven't beat them since 1988.
Oh, okay.
Michigan leads the all-time series like 58-9. Not that always matters because Michigan's historically just really good.
Right.
But in my honest opinion, Michigan right now is the second best team in the conference. I think they are playing that well right now.
I don't know if I've watched really any of Michigan lately.
They have got it going lately. I mean, just to look at their past few weeks, they beat Michigan State 44-10 last week.
That's true. Just the thing that I just saw on Twitter before we started recording with Shea Patterson, basically just saying, "Oh, we know we got one more big game left. We have to play Indiana, but then our eyes are on the last game." It's like, man, that is not. This is not the Indiana team you want to overlook because they're playing with a chip on their shoulder, and
I think he's just saying that because you're looking at a team that's beat Iowa, darn near beat Penn State during a whiteout at Happy Valley, killed Notre Dame, killed Michigan State.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. Indiana played good at Nebraska when they were disrespected.
It's at home.
I think Michigan's got a lot of fans there, though.
That's true.
I just think they're too talented.
I think they cover. I think they cover, but I think it's closer. I think it's like a less than. I think it's like a 14 points or less.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like that 10 to 14 range.
Indiana can put up points, but this is a really, really good defense, and I'm really intrigued to watch that Michigan. Well, I won't. We'll be at the Bucket game, but the Michigan-Ohio State game next week. It's also an intriguing matchup. Got to wonder if that's going to be game day. Would they do back-to-back Ohio State games? But it's at Michigan next week. So
it is the game. So
it is the game. So
unless they do like Alabama-Auburn,
which they could, but Tua's injury and Auburn's losing again kind of took some sting away. Yeah. And then we got the last Big Ten game we haven't covered yet. You got Nebraska 4-6, who gave Scotty Frost a 2-year extension at 3-7. Maryland. Nebraska's a 5-point favorite.
Oh man, I think Nebraska wins in the cover.
I think so too.
But
I think they're worried about Frost potentially leaving. That's why they gave him the extension. Maybe Florida State.
Ooh, man.
I don't know why Florida State would be real interested, except he did well in Florida. He recruited well in Florida when he was at Central Florida.
Yeah.
But the dude's won 8 games in almost
Power 5.
2 years.
And not a great side of the I mean, it's better now. I mean, it's better than people give it credit for. But
I'm glad he's sticking around. Don't get me wrong. I love to hate on the guy, but man, they are all about Boy Wonder.
Keep it coming.
Yep. So that wraps up the Big Ten. We'll pick a couple top 25 games here real quick. Number 22, Oklahoma State 7-3 at Morgantown. West Virginia 4-6. West Virginia did upset Kansas State at Kansas State. Oklahoma State 7-5, or not 7-5, 7.5-point favorites. I feel like Oklahoma State is right there where Bo Pelini's Nebraska teams used to be, 8-4, 9-3 every single year.
Yep. I think West Virginia, second week in a row.
Ooh, bold. I'm going to take the Cowboys to win and cover, but I like the boldness there. I can't hate on that. 5-5 Boston College at number 16, 8-2 Notre Dame. Notre Dame's 19.5-point favorites coming off a shellacking of Navy.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming. I thought Notre Dame would win, but I didn't think they would kill Navy by 32 points. I think Notre Dame rolls easily.
Oh, yeah, easily.
Easily on senior day. If they stop A.J. Dillon, they don't have to worry about anything else in Boston College. So then this game, see, the polls haven't updated my phone yet because Navy's still ranked 23rd. So that's why this game's showing up on my phone.
Oh, yeah, same.
9-1 SMU at 7-2 Navy, unless SMU's got to be ranked. But surprisingly, Navy's a 3.5-point favorite in this game.
This could be a really good game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with Navy.
We're gonna agree to disagree.
All right. I take Navy, but I think they win by 3. I think they don't cover.
I like this SMU team. Their only loss was at Memphis on game day.
Mm-hmm.
I think Sonny Dykes is doing a really good job. Watch for him potentially to be an Arkansas coach, except it didn't go well when he's at Cal. But, like we've mentioned before, you work your way. If you've struggled out Power 5, you go down to mid-major, do well again, you can get another chance. So he could be named to watch. You got 6-4 Texas at 9-1 Baylor. Baylor coming off let's be honest, a choke job against a really good Oklahoma team. Baylor's 5.5-point favorites. Think they bounce back?
I despise Baylor, so yeah, I hope so.
You think Baylor bounces back?
No, I think Texas bounced. Texas lost.
They both lost. Texas lost on the last.
I'm sorry, saying Texas. Yeah, I think Texas bounces back. If I can talk.
It's going to be interesting to see where these two programs' heads are at because Baylor just lost this college game day game when they're up 28-3, 31-10, lost. Texas is coming off their 4th loss of the year after a Sugar Bowl win last year. They got to be one of the more disappointing teams in the country. You got to think Texas fans are going to get a little frustrated with Herman a little bit. I know one that is. I'm going to pick Baylor. I don't know.
Do they cover?
Yeah.
Okay.
5.5. I feel like if you're not going to say by 3, it's probably going to cover. So I'll say they win by 10. I forgot this one earlier. Texas A&M 7-3 at 9-1. Number 4 Georgia. Georgia's 13.5-point favorite. Right now they're in a driver's seat for that 4 spot, but a lot can change.
Yep.
Who do you like there?
I think Georgia. I think they're just trying to make a statement, trying to show how good they are. I think they cover that.
Yeah, I agree. I have not watched much of A&M at all this year. I know we're Clemson's second closest game of the year, but I think Georgia's focus wins at home. And then we'll just go over a couple more here real quick before we talk some basketball. I like this interesting matchup here. 7-3 Temple at 9-1 Cincinnati. Cincinnati escaped down at South Florida over the weekend. They escaped at East Carolina a few weeks ago. Did they take care of the Temple Owls at home? 10-point favorites, Cincinnati?
I think so. I think they cover, yeah.
I did too. Luke Fickell's a coach. I could see getting a bigger job after the year. Maybe Michigan State if they want to move on from D'Antonio. D'Antonio came from Cincinnati. Cincinnati's always one of those programs that produces coaches who go elsewhere.
Yeah.
Mark D'Antonio, Brian Kelly, Butch Jones even, and now Luke Fickell. So, I like Cincinnati to cover. Arkansas, number 1, LSU. LSU is a 44-point favorite.
Arkansas is not good.
And LSU is really good.
And I said last week I'm a big fan of this LSU team, so I think that is a lot.
Do you even play Joe Burrow more than a quarter?
I wouldn't.
I mean, look what happened to Tua, and you got a case not to. But at the same time, you can't go in being scared of injuries.
No,
you just can't do that. But I think LSU wins easy.
I don't think they cover, but
I don't either.
I think it's like a 30-point game.
I think they barely don't cover because they pull their guys so early.
Yeah.
So, this LSU team's hard not to like. Coach O, Burrow seems like a good dude. I think he can strike a Heisman pose. I don't think he's losing it. I think it's all his.
Especially with Tua going down. I mean, Hurts. Yeah. Man, Hurts led them back. That was a pretty sweet comeback.
Yeah, he's probably number 2 right now. Justin Fields has played pretty well for Ohio State. Yeah. Chase Young had a case, but not anymore. But he will be back for Penn State, the Penn State game, by the way.
Yeah, I think that, like we talked about a couple weeks ago, is Burrow sealed it, I think, with Alabama.
And then these three matchups, I won't go over the spreads just so we can move on to basketball, but I'll just ask you if you see any of these teams losing. Do you see number 6 Oregon at Arizona State, number 10 Oklahoma at home against TCU, or number 7 Utah at Arizona? Any of those teams losing?
No, I don't.
I don't either. I think those three teams, in my opinion, right now, are going to be fighting for that Final Four spot in a couple weeks because I think Georgia will lose to LSU in the SEC championship, and a 2-loss Georgia's out.
Mm-hmm.
My opinion, well, if Alabama loses to Auburn next week, they're out, 2-loss. But my opinion, a 1-loss Oregon, Pac-12 champ, a 1-loss Oklahoma, Big 12 champ, or a 1-loss Utah, Pac-12 champ, have a very strong, in my opinion, compelling argument to get in over a 1-loss Alabama who doesn't win the SEC.
That'd be tough.
It would be.
I mean, I think the only one. I think the only one that I would feel confident could do that would be Oklahoma. Just because the big. I mean, I'm just not a believer in the Pac-12 for whatever reason. I don't know, just because I just don't watch their games. But
they're on at midnight.
Yeah. I have a hard time, even if they don't win the SEC. I have a hard time seeing the. I guess they wouldn't have Tua. I don't know.
Because the committee's got to take that in consideration.
Yeah. I guess without Tua, I could see it, but yeah, I feel like the bias is there for Alabama so much. And
there's so many other interesting scenarios. I mean, Ohio State could go down to Penn State, and then you got 1-loss Penn State can get themselves right back in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
You can still have a 1-loss Minnesota team if they run the table and beat an undefeated Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
They could be in the mix. I don't think a 2-loss Michigan, even though a 2-loss Michigan could technically – no, they couldn't. Penn State would still get the tiebreaker over them. Mm-hmm. Never mind. So 2-loss Michigan's out. But there's just so many interesting scenarios that can still be played out. And that's why I've really enjoyed this college football season. It's been really interesting. Even a 1-loss Baylor could have an argument, which I don't know if a 1-loss Big 12 champion Baylor gets in over a 1-loss Alabama.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. We'll see how it all plays out. But, all right, this is a Purdue-focused podcast. Let's get back to Purdue. We've spent a lot of time top 25 and other Big Ten matchups. I apologize, but with Purdue having a bye week in football, there wasn't much to talk about besides just previewing the Wisconsin game, which Wisconsin is just
Wisconsin.
Purdue. It's Wisconsin. So now let's talk some Boilers on the hardwood. Kind of a rough week for Purdue last week. They split 1-1. They lost at Marquette in a game that saw the Boilers up as many as 18, including a 13-point halftime lead, before only scoring 17 points in the second half. Then saw them bounce back against Chicago State. Looks set, and you went to the game, so you can help me out here, but sounded like it was a very sloppy first half, but then they really got going in the second half and won, what was it, 93-49?
Something like that.
94-49, something like that.
But
let's go back to the Marquette game. Let's cover that game first. Because we owe it to the listeners and the viewers.
Yeah, I know.
Man, what a frustrating game.
Yeah.
I think Purdue beat themselves. I don't.
Oh, absolutely.
Painter
even said, Coach Painter even said that they blew that game.
They blew it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was different than how they blew it at Texas. Texas was turnovers at the end. Marquette game was a combination of free throws, turnovers, missing bunnies. I mean, I know you, Andrew, and I were texting at halftime. We felt good being up 13, considering no Joe, 3 fouls. Some other guys were in foul trouble. But at the same time, we felt like we should be up 20.
Yeah. A lot of bunnies. Missed some opens. And considering the fact that, I mean, we're up 13, but I don't think Howard wasn't having the half that I thought he was going to have. I thought he was going to just go off and just kind of be a one-man show. But yeah, I was happy to be up by 13. We got up 18. I was like, holy crap, we're going to run away with this thing. But they kind of went on a little run there at the end. And it just came down to the fact that we just couldn't put it in the hole when we needed to.
Yeah, it's just so frustrating. I haven't yelled at my TV during a game like that in a long time, or at least it feels like a long time. Probably just.
I was in a hotel, so I was trying to control myself.
Yeah, I need to, but it's hard. When you go 9 for 21 from the line, I can't take that watching as a fan.
No, and that was the thing. It was just like, man, we are leaving way too many points on the board, on the board for them to. I mean, you knew. I hate the mentality of when. I mean, it happens to every fan base. But we just see it obviously mostly in this fan base because we're fanatics. But when teams make a run, it's, oh my God, how could Purdue blow it? It's like, it's college basketball, especially high level. People go on runs. It's just a matter of how can you can you do enough to kind of weather the storm and get through it? And how you do that is by not turning the ball over and making your freaking free throws when you need to. And we didn't do either of those things, and that's a recipe for disaster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and coming out of that game, I'm like, the veterans have to step up.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I thought Harms and Proctor played okay, at least that night. Besides that, Purdue didn't get anything from Eastern.
Nope.
Boudreaux. I'm not gonna call Wheeler a veteran yet, even though he's experienced from last year,
Mm-hmm.
and Williams. And going forward, why we talk about free throws when we're getting right into the Chicago State game. The guys that have been struggling from the line, Harms, Williams, Eastern, those are going to be the three guys that get to the line the most.
Yeah. I mean, you got two inside guys, then you got Eastern. People are just going to foul because they maybe saw it last year. About halfway through, people were just fouling because they knew. I mean, rather than foul him, than you foul Carson or Klein. Well, actually, Klein didn't really shoot a whole lot of free throws. Don't need to open that wound again. But Carson was automatic. Even Grady was automatic for the most part. But yeah, it's gonna be those three guys, and I have the most confidence in Harms. I think he has a lot. He has a lot better stroke. Williams, I don't know.
He's got to find it. I mean, he kind of found it a little bit late last year, but.
Yeah, I Eastern found it last year, so I think it's just again that just seeing it go in. I really think that if he's got two and he misses that first one, I don't think that second one's going. I think it is just a big confidence thing for him.
He's so in his own head. I mean, you see him in warm-ups, he'll hit 8 or 9 in a row, no problem. Yep. Gets in the game, his whole form changes.
Yep.
And according to you and some other Boiler fans, I didn't go to the game Saturday. He shot some right-handed.
Mm-hmm. And you wonder if that's just
you are just way ahead.
Yeah.
You're looking for anything.
But you also wonder if that's more like a wrist issue because he had that wrist issue the first couple games. But yeah, I don't know. I'd like to see if any of the reporters asked him about it because I didn't even notice it either. Because apparently, I think it happened in the second half, which I thought it happened in the first. Because the first half, Purdue was coming down on the end that I was sitting at, and like there was when he was shooting like his first shot, there was an audible like groan as soon as the shot went up because his form just had that huge hitch in it like we saw last year. And it was just kind of one of those things like, oh God, here we go again. I'm gonna figure this out. And then supposedly I saw people I didn't see on the board, I wasn't just paying attention apparently. But people on the board were saying that in the second half he shot some right-handed. So
my dad noticed that he did.
Okay.
So I saw somebody on the board bring up an interesting topic, and who knows if there's any truth to it, but it was more of just wondering, I guess. When he kind of got hurt the wrist a little bit again in the Texas game and couldn't shoot free throws, I believe it was.
Yes.
Or maybe it was the Green Bay game he couldn't shoot free throws, but somebody said Texas, but maybe whatever game.
Okay.
Maybe he was kind of in his head that he didn't want to shoot free throws, so his wrist was already hurting. He was going to play it off a little bit like it hurt so he couldn't shoot. I don't know. That's just one of those theories.
I hope not, but yeah.
But what was your assumption of watching the Boilers live Saturday?
Again, kind of, I've heard Brian Newbert say this a couple times on his postgame podcast, but it was kind of those games where you knew Purdue was going to win, which I kind of forgot going into it. The state that Chicago State was
They're always one of the worst teams.
Yeah, I forgot that this was a school that hired their coach in August. This was a school that, if people are familiar with Mark Titus, who you former walk-on at Ohio State, he had kind of had a whole social media campaign of hiring him to be the next Chicago State coach. Just kind of a funny campaign. I completely forgot about that. I felt bad thinking this, but I didn't realize this the state of the program. But they came on the court, and I was like, man, those look like intramural jerseys. What they were wearing. I mean, they were Nike jerseys, but they were screen printed. They weren't stitched. I was like, man, this looks like something that we would have made. Like that would have been like cool intramural jerseys, but not for a Division I basketball team. I think Ken Pomeroy, out of 353 teams, they were ranked 353 or 353rd, I should say. They played zone exclusively, a 2-3 zone, pretty much.
First time we've seen zones this year.
Yeah, we moved it really well. It wasn't a very good zone. We had no problem getting it into the middle. Had a lot of wide open shots. We just weren't hitting them in the first half. Actually, it was a game for the first 15 minutes. It was kind of, we'd get up, then they would tie it, and they would get up a little bit, then we would come back, and then I kind of noticed really with about 6 minutes to play. Travion had come back in. He really had the stats didn't show it, but he definitely provided a nice energy spark. He had a great offensive rebound that kind of reminded me a lot of Big E. Just went up and just got it with one hand and put it back. So I think just from an effort standpoint, he definitely got the team going. With like 6 minutes to go, I noticed we only had about 3 fouls, and I definitely tell we kind of ramped up the defensive pressure, and that definitely bothered Chicago State a lot because then we kind of went on a little run, got up double digits. Still, we're missing some bunnies. It was the frustrating part. I think it just comes from not having proven scores on this team. I mean, we have guys who can score, but there's no one who we're confident is going to hit the shot every single time like we've been spoiled with the last couple of years. But because we were moving the ball well. Wheeler missed some wide open shots. Sasha missed a couple open threes. I'm trying to think who else. I know Isaiah hit a few in the first half, missed one in the first half, I think.
He ended up with 5 3-pointers, which is tied a Big Ten freshman record. That really surprised me that they've never had a freshman hit at least 6 threes in a game.
Yeah, no kidding. It was good to see him score. It was one of those games where it doesn't matter. I know this is a game, as we've heard, that Purdue doesn't like to play just because it does nothing for you, but it was an Emerald Classic campus game, so we had to play it. This is not a game that you'll see Purdue willingly schedule. It was good to see Isaiah just see the ball go through. He did have a couple air balls. I think he had 2 air balls. He was 5 for 10 from 3. Good to see him hit some shots because, it's just going to hopefully kind of give him validation and give him confidence moving forward because we're going to need him, I'm sure, in some part. I can see him offering a little spark here and there. I think he's going to definitely be a kid, in the next year or two that he's going to have that type of Carson range where he's just going to, walk in the gym and be in range. Aaron Wheeler played he played pretty well. I still like to see him kind of make that next step. I think me and a lot of other fans kind of built him up just from what we saw last year, but he still kind of learned to take in that more prominent role. And he struggled a little bit, but he had a double-double. It was a very quiet double-double. I kind of looked at the stats in the first half, and he had like 7 rebounds before the end of the first half. And I was like, holy crap, I had no idea it was that close already. He played well. Matt Harms only played 15 minutes. We just didn't need him.
Only one shot attempt.
Had some nice rebounds. Sasha didn't play in the second half. I think there was an injury there. Not really sure. But you saw, some of the younger guys get some minutes. I really think we're going to like Proctor a lot. I think he's going to have to be him and Eric Hunter. I was really happy with. Hunter kind of took on that scoring, kind of just taking it on himself to go and score the basket. Had a really nice dunk that I did not see coming. Evan Boudreaux dunked, which definitely no one saw that coming. No, Joe had a dunk. Like I said, text you guys. I think he dunked on the entire city of Chicago.
Highlights today on the Weatherball Twitter.
It was fun. It was fun. The second half was fun just because it was kind of got to see. Tommy Luce got in with about 6 minutes left.
He played pretty darn good.
That kid can ball. I was thinking he's the type of kid that if we played him in intramurals, because you and I played intramurals at Purdue, and we were famously not good at all.
Embarrassingly bad. We had fun though.
We had fun, but if Tommy Luce was on the other team, he would have put 30 on us easily, without breaking a sweat. That kid would have crossed up every single person on our team twice.
I would have paid to see some more guys, including myself, just.
But he had some great drives, kind of driving, jumping, and dishing off underneath to someone. Emmanuel Juona got his first action. He had a dunk.
It sounded like he looked pretty good.
Yeah, I forgot how big he is. You see him just when you actually saw him in full uniform. The dude's big, and he's gonna be athletic. If he can kind of put it all together, he could be a pretty nice little piece for us. The walk-ons got in, which is cool. But it was just good to see. It was one of those games that just doesn't matter, but hopefully can build some confidence in some things. But we didn't really get a chance to really work on anything. We didn't really feed it inside because it was kind of. So they were throwing a zone at us. So it was a lot of just trying to find the open space and taking it from there. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Well, now Purdue only one game this week. It's Saturday at Mackey, 8:00. I don't know even if it's televised.
I have not seen anything about the television.
Probably Big Ten Plus though, or maybe ESPN3. But they are hosting the Jacksonville State Gamecocks, another one of those on-campus tournament games, like Chicago State. Let me pull up the Gamecock schedule here. They're 1-2. And I know Isaac Haas wished that we would have scheduled these guys when he played because they're from right where he is, or he
Really?
right where he's from. They're from. They're located.
Oaks Bluff, Alabama.
Yeah, sure. Is that where Isaac was from?
Yes.
Okay. I knew he's from Alabama. I couldn't have told you what town. But they lost at SMU 74-65. They beat a team called Resetia. I've never heard of them. 125-55.
Oh, my God.
And they lost at VCU 93-65.
We play VCU in a couple weeks.
Yes.
Next Friday.
Yes. Down at 9 o'clock Friday night game.
Mm-hmm.
So I would think the Boilers can win this game without a problem, and then get ready for the schedule to really get ramped up next week.
Mm-hmm. So with a week to prepare, you'll probably see a lot more of actual just practice. What do you hope can happen in this week, which is nice? I know kind of last year we saw the same thing where during this time of year, you don't get a chance to really work on anything as a team. It's kind of more just preparing for the next opponent. But now that we have a little bit of a break, what do you hope can kind of get worked out?
I don't want to see him shoot as many threes. I mean, even though they found their stride in second half the other day, that's a lot of 3-point attempts.
Yeah, it was.
I just don't know if that's what this team's identity needs to be.
Right.
I want him to work in the post a lot more, working from inside outs. Just limit turnovers, just sloppiness. Just and it's still early in the season. I know everybody's trying to find their footing, their identity, but I just want to see some of these veteran guys. I'm going to throw Aaron Wheeler in there. Wheeler, Easter, not only get it going, but continue to get it going. Get some consistency going because we got to find who our go-to guys are. I want somebody to merge, especially next week when it's VCU and either Florida State or Tennessee. I want somebody to merge to want the ball late when it gets tight and games get in tough situations. Because so far in the two tight situations Purdue's been in, they've failed. Texas and Marquette late under 4 minutes in each case. So maybe that's Shahab Proctor. I don't know. Somebody just got it. I know we don't have an alpha like Carson. He's a 1 in 30-year player, 20-year player, whatever. But somebody's got to step up and maybe that's not arms. I don't know.
I want it to be Proctor. I think it has to be a guard. I mean, it's because you just can't. I know we kind of did a lot with Hammonds where we would just give it to Hammonds because he was our. Same with Biggie. We would just give it to Biggie. They were kind of our go-to. I don't know where I'm drawing a blank. Yeah. But I feel like it has to be a guard. Yeah, I want it to be Proctor. I think the guy who wants to do it and who might do it is Hunter. I just don't know if he's there yet physically. I mean, I can just see him just getting absolutely just bodied up by Cassius Winston. I think
Hunter's done a pretty good job.
I think he's done great too. I just think he's just not quite there. I mean, I think he's very shifty. I think when he can get in space, he's really good. But it's just that I don't think he can create enough space on his own like a Proctor could. Because like Carson, he was so good because he was just a bowling ball, just a running back, and that's kind of how Proctor is, just a big guard who can just kind of body up someone and get to line. Because Proctor can hit free throws, as we've seen. Thank God, someone can. So I would love it to be Proctor, but hopefully he can step it up. I think it's gonna be Proctor or Hunter. I think are two guys. Yeah,
Hunter's impressed me a lot this year. He's really improved a lot from last year. So, but I'm still feeling pretty good about the season. 2-2 start. I mean, I'd love to be.
Yeah, too bad Andrew's not here because he had some hot takes.
He hates Marquette. Yeah, being a Butler grad, he hates Marquette. But Andrew, for those who joined late or are listening to the podcast or just joined watching this simulcast, Andrew was out with some technical difficulties tonight. That's why we came on so late. We apologize for that. Hopefully, we'll get that cleaned up for next week. But any closing thoughts?
Oh, man. Let's go 2-0 on Saturday.
Let's boiler up, hammer down.
Hold on, I got a question. If we had to go 1-1, which one would you choose?
Oh my God! Right? Oh, that's tough because, oh my gosh. I'd probably choose basketball.
Yeah, just because I feel like that loss would just be. Because
I think that could ruin the whole season. It'd be 2-3. The confidence will be down. In football, you lose, you can still win the bucket. It's just been a hard season to watch anyways from the injury standpoint. But, man, it would be nice to go up there, shock the world, and then that bucket game would be really intriguing. and we could make another bowl potentially. But good question, but I don't like you putting me on the spot. But,
my dad asked me that a couple weeks ago, the Northwestern Texas game. He asked me right after the Texas game, and I was very just down. I said I would have rather won the basketball game.
Yeah,
but I don't know. But yeah, I would choose basketball for this weekend too, just because I think the
long-term effects.
Yeah, the football loss is kind of just like, okay, we kind of expected that, but losing to Jacksonville State at home, dropping a second game at Mackey, I don't want to experience that.
And one more note I meant to mention, I don't want to spend too much time on it because we need to wrap this thing up, but football did lose a commit today. Four-star cornerback from Texas, Christian Gonzalez, brother-in-law of David Blau. It was rumored for the last few weeks that he was going to do it, and he did it today. He flipped his commitment to Colorado, and you said they supposedly told him he could potentially play both ways, offense and defense. But Colorado's putting together a heck of a recruiting class all of a sudden. Hats off to Mel Tucker. Stinks for Purdue, but that's why they've been offering some 4-star and 3-star junior college cornerbacks and defensive backs. Makes sense now. Kind of saw the writing on the wall, but unfortunate. But Purdue still got a great class so far for 2020. Hopefully they don't lose any others. Now they can add another piece, and hopefully they get everybody signed here in the next just couple weeks.
Speaking of signing, all 3 basketball commits are signed. I can rest easy now.
Yep. So we're good to go there.
Yeah.
But with that said, like us on Facebook, Boiler Breakdown, and you can follow us at Twitter and on Twitter and on Instagram at Boiler Break Pod. Please like and subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. And if you listen on Apple Play, please give us a rating and review. That really helps us out. But with that said, Evan, let's boiler up, hammer down, somehow find a way to beat the Badgers, and take care and beat the Gamecocks.
Boiler up.